little thing called Versus where we pick two teams and we say what team will not only have the better record, but who will go further in the playoffs. So this week we're doing the San Francisco 49ers and the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, and I actually think both teams are going to surprise people this season. And I'll start with the Raiders. I don't by surprise, I think the Raiders aren't going to be dreadful. That makes sense. I don't think they'll be dreadful. I think they'll be a comparable, Pete Carroll in his first seasons and every stop, whether it was 6-6 at USC, I believe it was 6-10 with the one with the Jets, and then he was 7-9 his first year in Seattle. His only winning record was the one season in New England where he went 10-6. But his first year is always kind of a rebuild year. It's always kind of a fallout year. And he always makes a dramatic change after that first year. I believe this dramatic change this year, after the first year, will be getting rid of Charles Kelly. But we'll get to that. We'll start that car in a minute. I really, really, really believe the Raiders will be a solid, high-level, functioning, consistent football team. Geno Smith is a high-level, consistent quarterback. You're not going to win games because of Geno, but you're not going to lose games because of Geno. He's going into his 12th season. He's not going to make the catastrophic mistake, but he's not going to make the unbelievable throw either. So he's a guy that's going to keep you in games and give you a chance. I love Gentry. I believe he's Hall of Fame special. I really do. Unfortunately, I saw a lot of Boise State games. I'm going to say that again. Unfortunately, I saw a lot of Boise State games. Those who know me well know that I watch college football. I'm a college football guy. Gentry is special, man. As I said, he's Hall of Fame gold jacket special. That kid is going to win a game or two for him by himself. They got Mozart also backing him up, so he's got a veteran in the locker room who knows he's looking at something different. He's looking at a different cut cloth. Other than that, I don't see anything that makes your eyes pop out. And like I started out, it's hard to be positive with Charles Kelly in the fold. It is. It's so many negative things surrounding him. But this is his last hurrah. And what do they say? A hungry dog runs fast or something along those lines. This is his last run. And so he's going to give it everything he got. But I just think that there's going to be too many cultural clashes there. But even with all that said, I like this team. They're going to be, for me, their breaking point's going to be around week 5. I think they'll be at that point 1-3. And they'll be at Indianapolis, I believe. And yes, at Indianapolis, they'll be about 1-3. They win that game. They come home against the Titans. They're now 3-3 at week 6 or going into week 7. Now, for those of you who are like, so Las Vegas has not been at that point in the season 500 in a very long time. So I'll wrap it up with this. That will be, in my opinion, the breaking point for their season. They win that game, they'll finish out about, let's say 8-9, maybe a possible 9-8. They lose that game, they'll still be about 6-11, 7-10, but you'll see the improvements in the way they play. So that's what I think of the Raiders.
Well, I actually think when you look at their schedule, the way it starts out with, I think they have a shot. And I think they win that Patriots game. The Chargers, I think they're very competitive. I have a win in 4 of the first 7 games before the bye week. Yeah, I really feel high on this because.
So you think they beat the Chargers? You think they beat the Chargers in week 2?
I think it's close. I don't know if they beat them. I think they beat the Patriots. I think they beat the Bears. I think they beat the Colts, and I think they beat the Titans because 2 AFC South teams. Oh, that's a gimme. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
so I look at them. Yeah.
Well, let me hold on. Stop at that light because I want to chop that up with you a little bit.
All right.
So I'm going to go with Caleb in that game, and I'm going to go with Harbaugh. I don't think the Raiders have enough to overcome those playmakers and that coaching. But I'm gonna give it back to you.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think they have enough over the Bears. I think that's where I was leaning because if I did that, I'd feel like, all right, that's 5 wins. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Raiders aren't a 5-win team this early, and then I'm pulling back on that. That's what I was like.
Yeah,
right. I think they're playing close though. Yeah. I do think they beat the Bears, especially at home. Caleb Williams, I think, is going to struggle early on. I think it won't click till halfway through the season with him picking up Ben Johnson's offense. So that's why I'm like, you know what? And I just look at the way that it's constructed. I think a lot of people still think about Chip Kelly as this, he's going to throw, hurry up offense, what have you. Well, a lot of I think some people, not you, I think some people are like,
he likes to run
spread. The ball. Yeah, he loves it. And that's why I think he had Gentry doing that. it takes some pressure off Geno Smith. Brock Bowers is still does very well on the inside. And you
Yeah.
just imagine right now that RPO game with Geno, his decision making. You got to worry about flying up to stop Genty. Oh wait, you got Brock Bowers going on the backside there. Okay, do I like their depth at wide receiver? I'm not in love with it. No, I'm really not in love with it, but I think it's enough where they can be serviceable, and then they
Yeah.
just continue to build as it goes along. I like
And
the
they got
addition of
that
Pete.
depth at running back too.
Yeah,
You don't want to gloss over that. Having Mostert as the backup to Gentry allows you, staying with that point that you're making, and allows them to take advantage of Powers and allows them to take advantage of Geno's quick decision making, which all the way back to his time at West Virginia, it really, really thrives at. Go ahead, I interrupted you.
yeah, and especially when it comes to I think when he's the feature guy, like he's sitting in Miami and everything else, that's why I think he starts to break down. When you're not having to put the whole entire onus of the offense on him, I think he's great. He's a good number two. Then you got to think that then I'm like, okay, offensively they can be decent. Defensively, Max Crosby, yeah, he's still one of the best edge rushers in the league. The one thing I think is going to come back is that stupid forehead kiss to Christian Wilkins, if that's true, or alleged what Adam Schefter did. Because then you lose a really big thing. We see how this league is shifting to focus on the interior defensive linemen and the pressure they can make on the inside. Now I'm thinking like, okay, if they really do the hurry up to the point that Chip wants to run this thing, that defense is going to be on the field for a long time and can tire out. And you don't have a run stuffer and it just wears you out with the run game. I worry about that a little bit. So I
Yeah.
think they make some things. I think they flirt with the 7 seed, but the problem is they're in the AFC West, which is already a tough division as
Yeah.
is.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
tough division.
Yes.
So good. It's a good first start for Pete Carroll. We know what he does. I think he's the right guy for that job, even if he is a little bit older for that. I think he's the right guy for that because of the mentality and culture he built. So I can see the Raiders having a good first season under him. I think next year will be the real true test to see where this team is as it goes forward.
I agree. And before we even jump to the Niners, just kind of put a bow on the Raiders. I believe there's hope in Raider Nation. I don't have a problem. I know a lot of people do have a problem with Pete Carroll's age. Well, I believe there's wisdom in age. I believe there's golden experience. And Pete Carroll has coached different decades of players. So he's gonna eventually, before he leaves the Raiders, coach a child whose father he drafted. I'm gonna say that again. Before he leaves the Raiders, he's going to coach someone's son whose father he drafted. Now, that sounds crazy on the surface, but you think about that because a lot of these guys, football is what they breathe, it's what they live. We got Jeremiah Trotter Jr.'s son playing for the Eagles. That means something to these guys. It means something to them. And while that guy may not fit in Seattle or Miami or Denver, he's going to go a little harder because this guy gave not only him a shot, but he gave his father a shot. It's a great story. Mark Ingram, I would say Mark Ingram had a solid career in the NFL. I think he would agree with me.
Yeah.
People don't know. People don't think about this often. He was a Heisman Trophy winner in Alabama. So you say, well, what does that have to do with anything? Well, how did they maximize him? He worked hard in Alabama. But you know who his coach was Nick Saban. You know who Nick Saban coached? Mark Ingram's father. He coached his father. It's a connection that a lot of people, especially growing up in our culture, it matters. So I just think Pete Carroll I don't have a problem with his age. And I don't have one thing Pete Carroll does a great thing of, and this is why there's hope in Raider Nation. He knows that being the smartest man in the room knows you're not the smartest man. He will step back and say, yeah, we paid a lot of money for this quarterback, but this young pup, Russell Wilson, got something about him. We were going to be a passing offense. We're going to go out and get this wild guy out in Buffalo. It's just something about this guy. And we're going to let these guys be these guys. And that year, they went 7-9 in Seattle. They went to the playoffs, right?
Yeah,
His first year.
Weird thing, yeah.
And they beat a team that was supposed to be going to the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. So look, you said they're going to flirt with the playoffs. I just don't see it, but the AFC South is dreadful, and the Bengals are going to be the team I think they're going to be. There might be a spot for them to sneak in, and I just believe next year is a better run for them, but there's hope in Raider Nation.